All right, welcome in, guys. Welcome in, welcome in. This your girl, Drika Shine here. All right. Okay, so I am going to make sure that. So my
Hi.
awesome. Hello,
How are
hello.
you?
Can you hear me
Yes,
okay?
it was kind of like going
Oh
out
no.
in the beginning, but I think it's okay. It's just like was going out a little
Oh
bit.
my goodness. So I can see you, but I don't hear anything. So let's
Oh,
try
I,
this.
I can hear you. I want to be like the talking head.
All right. Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, I mean, I could hear you before. Can you hear me?
Awesome. Yeah, I can hear you great now. Okay. I was worried. I was like, oh my God, is this going to be okay?
No,
My internet
right here. I'm
is
so
crazy.
excited. My coach is always like, you need to go live, you need to go live. But like, I don't know if it's from being in the beauty industry, but I like to talk to people. I don't like to just sit and talk to myself on live. So I'm like, oh, a friend, let's do one together. Perfect.
Right. Exactly. So if you can hear me okay, then we can definitely proceed. So let me know. Introduce yourself to your name and everything and what it is that you do because I'm so excited to get to know
I'm so
more about what it is
excited.
that you do.
So my name's Jenna Melberg, and I have been in the beauty industry for 15 years. Like, I think it would be cool if we talk about how we got into the industry. That's just like always my favorite story to talk about.
Okay.
I have a salon now, and I actually specialize in spray tanning. I know you do locks, right?
I do, yeah.
Yeah. So I specialize in spray tanning, and my mom, she was always in the beauty industry. She was a massage therapist. So I literally have just been in the industry since I was born, essentially. And
Okay.
then people would say, like, when did you start coaching, right? Because I do business coaching. And I kind of had like an epiphany. I was like, I feel like I've been coaching since I was a teenager because my mom didn't know how to use like the internet or a phone or like literally any type of technology. So I was always like, well, you should have like client forms that people can fill out so you can like, have their information, or you should have a website, or you should, send out text messages. Like I was doing this for her when I was like 15, like just seeing what was missing in her business kind of. So
Uh-huh.
it's just a natural progression, obviously, for me to get into the beauty industry. And then starting my business, it's kind of funny because it's like having my business, I was like, okay, well, yeah, I can see like why she was so bad at it because like we don't know anything about, it was kind of like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have judged her so much because I have no idea what I'm doing right now. So then I went to school for my business degree, and I started working with business coaches when I was like 23. It's like pretty early on, and then I just started coaching and I love it. It's awesome.
Oh yeah. That's
Yeah.
awesome. So your business, you say you do beauty like tanning and things, or what is it that you say?
I do spray tanning. That is my like claim to fame. So I say that, so I teach a lot about diversity in like the spray tanning world. And I say that like I'm the diversity in the the spray tanning world. Because if you go to like the conferences or you see like promotional material or anything that's promoting like sunless tanning, it's usually just like some skinny white girl who's like 20 in a bikini, right? Like, so it's just this whole concept of like the service is actually for all different skin colors and types and ages, and just like really promoting diversity. So I teach about that a lot as well.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. And you said how long have you been coaching?
Well, I started coaching probably, like I actually launched my coaching business in 2021. Like
Oh, same
official,
time as
like,
me.
oh, really? But like, so I feel like you'll really understand this because I would coach all my friends who had businesses and be like, you need to have an LLC. You need to have a website. You need to be on social media. Like, so I feel like I've been coaching forever, And
Yeah,
then after COVID happened, it was like, okay, I really have to talk about this because I know you'll understand this. Like, just seeing the industry be so like devastated from COVID because so many people, they weren't running businesses. They were just doing a service.
right,
So I feel like after COVID, it was just like, okay, this is really my chance to make a difference. And I feel like people will actually listen to me now because they see what happened when they weren't actually running their businesses correctly. So it's kind of like two things at the same time.
for sure, for sure.
I can't. So tell me about you starting and like getting into coaching.
Yeah, so pretty much I've been really doing hair or just in the beauty industry since I was like 10 years old. I started out braiding family and friends, and then in high school it turned into like a really full-on business. Um, so I was pretty booked out with clients from just word of mouth, and then um, I kind of got overwhelmed with it, and I wanted to go to college. So I was like, I don't know if I really want to do hair. So I kind of took a break and I
Yeah.
went to college. And then I wish I had the drive during college to do hair, but that was kind of like my breakaway. But
Mm-hmm.
then I came back and got fully like licensed and kind of took it serious. And so I've been doing
Yeah.
hair and an entrepreneur for a very long time. And so for me, when I got to a point where I had my own suite, because
Yeah.
I never really felt the urge to go out and get a salon space.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't. Yeah, I don't typically recommend it.
yeah,
I
like
feel
I
like
just
I
didn't
talk
feel
people
that.
out of getting salons. I'm like, so why do you want a salon? And how much money do you plan on making? And how much are you? I've actually coached people out of opening salons, like multiple
Wow,
times.
that's dope. That's pretty dope because
Like
you're saving
five.
them probably a lot of headaches.
Yeah,
But
because I'm really big on like, why do you want it? Like, do you just feel like you should have it? Like, this is what people told you. This is just the next step of you being a business owner. Like, what do you want a salon for? Because if you can't answer those questions, you do not need to have a salon at all.
right, right, yeah,
I know you get that.
it wasn't at the top of my list for me.
Yeah.
Um, I just didn't see it. So when I was in my salon suite, though, I kind of felt at the time I didn't know it was burnt out, but I just felt like my creativity was being kind of drained or siphoned because I was doing the same styles over and over. I just felt like it just wasn't. I don't know. I needed a change.
I get that.
So um, I kind of just took a break and retired. I call it retire at the time, but it really
When
was a hiatus.
when did you retire?
And, and I retired in
Oh,
2021.
in 2021, I quit working for 9 months.
Yes,
We have like so
same,
much similarities.
same.
And I completely started building out my coaching company, and I had employees because I have the salon, like, but I didn't work. I was like, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm so tired of this. I'm gonna be a coach. Like that's I love that we have like these little
Yeah,
timelines going.
the same timeline. Ain't that something?
Yeah,
Literally,
that's funny.
I was like, what? This must be like my business bestie or something.
I love it.
So,
I needed that break,
uh,
girl. Yeah, I was like,
yeah,
I need a break. like,
for
and
sure.
I have been doing it since I was 18. So it's like, I just felt like I was living the same life over and over. Like, you just wake up, go to salon. I was just like, I gotta do something else.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I completely like didn't at the time when I stopped doing hair, I didn't know that I was going to get into coaching until maybe like 2 months or so
Okay.
after. And then that's when I started, I hired a coach, and then that's when I started my coaching, um, my coaching business. And I actually started out as a healing coach because
Oh.
that's where I was at the time. Just pretty much sharing more about spirituality and just healing and helping people on that path. And then it kind of came full circle to where God was like, okay, I need you to actually
Help.
bring this journey back to the beauty industry,
Mm-hmm.
because the path was that of where, we were pretty much ushering in this change where, now as beauty experts, we're tapping into the wealth potential, because it's a cap when you're working in your business. And this is when I learned the difference between working in your business and on your
I
business.
talk
Because working
about
in
that a
your
lot.
business,
Yeah.
working in your business, it's only so much time and hours of the day that you can actually do your service.
Yeah.
So coaching just opens up a whole nother way for us to actually build wealth. And so that was one of the timelines in the way that I was actually able to kind of promote and introduce this to hairstylists. And so I kind of just pretty much targeted just hairstylists and beauty experts because, that's what made sense for me. But now I see it evolve where I'm opening up to just more just entrepreneurs in general.
Yeah.
But just making sure that I'm also just touching on those beauty expert points because I do want them to really understand that, we don't have to just do services. We can actually offer different, digital products
And not
create different.
and not just like trading your time for money. Like I talk about that a lot, like there's never going to be enough time. Like you have to find streams of income that don't involve your time for money. Like that's just like at this point it's just non-negotiable to do that. And you can still love doing your services. Like I never want to be like you can't do hair anymore or you can't be in this industry. Like you need to sell courses or you need to do this. Like I'm not really ever like coming from that viewpoint. It's more like you need multiple streams of income. You just have to. And you don't know if the salon's gonna get shut down again. You don't know what's going on with the economy. Like you don't know how all these things like are going to affect your life. So I feel like in our industry, I feel like we know now after COVID, definitely like this is non-negotiable that you have to have multiple streams of income because you just never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the same how I see it. It's like, being able to add this into your business model in a way that where it supports you and frees up your time because, now I'm able to access, time freedom, like absolute time freedom. Um, and even just in the essence of like financial freedom. And I say that in the way of like, you know, looking at money in the way that God has been revealing it to me, to where, of course we want to build our bank account, but also knowing that abundance comes in many forms. And so, I've been able to see how an overflow and receiving in so many other different ways where like I'm so provided for and I have, zero debt. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm just completely in a freedom space.
Well, I think like I wouldn't put it in the realm of karma necessarily, but I think for me, like what I love the most about coaching is like obviously if we're in this industry, we care about serving others. Like I say, if you're a service provider, you need to be concerned about serving others. Like if you don't like people, if you don't like serving people, you shouldn't be a service provider. And I think like for me, what I felt like was the progression of getting into coaching was like, yes, I do get to work with my clients. I get to make them feel beautiful. I get to like boost their confidence and listen to them. And like, I really do feel like you have like a really special connection with your clients, But I feel like with coaching, I genuinely get to change the trajectory of someone's life and their children and their family. Like it's so much like it's such a deeper level of work with someone. And I just, that to me was just like the progression of me being a service provider. And I do feel like in terms of like putting good out. I do feel like when you're coaching, and for you with getting into healing, like I talk a lot about how you and the business are one. You know, we try and make this separation as if like your personal life can be an absolute disaster and then your business is going to be like thriving and successful, and that doesn't, like, those two things don't usually happen, you know. And people are just like, I don't understand, like, why I'm not busy, or why I'm not successful, or why, and I'm like, well, because I know, like, you know what I mean, like, you have to get your personal life together. So I think it is really important, like you were talking about, to like talk about healing and like bringing people on that journey, because you do have to be in like a very, in my opinion, you have to be in a good space to become a successful business owner or entrepreneur. I do think that.
Yeah, for sure. Because I mean, I really, and I've talked about this before in like different lives and things, but
Mm-hmm.
the fact that the truth behind having an actual coaching business is that you really have to do the inner work and the personal development work, but
Mm-hmm.
not even that. Like it got really deep to where it started to go into like my family structure and foundation and making sure that was solid. Like it had to encompass everything in my life, like you said, your personal life. Because I can
Mm-hmm.
remember like 1 year, my personal life feeling like it was on a high, and my business was kind of like not really moving as far as clients,
Yeah.
but still progressing because I'm still creating. But then
Yeah.
another year, I felt like my personal life was in a mess, and then my business was like really, really, high. So I felt like now that I'm going into this third year, I feel just this really balance and
Balance.
groundedness
Yeah.
between the two, to where now it's like, and I call it this space called like going to zero, where you're like able to break even, and then now actually start to step into where you can actually create sustainability and building up your coaching clientele and all that different stuff. So it's just been a beautiful journey, one that I don't take lightly, because
No.
the universe does not play with you.
No. I I was just thinking about that today. Like I didn't know how to like phrase the post I wanted to write, but I was thinking something along the lines of like, you know, the coaching space of being like, I made $1 million in 30 days, or like, you can just watch this video and you'll have a six-figure business. And like, let's be real, like, I really, I was either gonna say something like, I'll never say that because it took me 10 years to make $1 million. You know, like it took me 4 years to make $1 million. I didn't make $1 million in an hour. Like, even if someone launched a product and they had $1 million launch, they were working on that product. You know what I mean? Like, I really just hate like that wording in this space, like the coaching space of like, it's just so easy. Like I told you, I talk people out of salons. I feel like I operate in like a realist realm where I'm like, okay, that's going to be hard. You're going to have to work on this. That's not what's going to happen. Like, you need to do this. You need to DM people. And people look at me like, ma'am, excuse me. And I'm like, oh, you thought like, oh, you just thought you were going to make a website? Oh, okay. Like, I'm not the coach for you if that was like what you were thinking, you know? And I just love like being like the honest person to be like, no, you're not just gonna hit seven figures. You're not just gonna throw up a website and make an Instagram and just hit six figures. Like, I don't think that, like, I'm sorry, I can't help you with that like misinformation. Like, you're gonna need to go get a different coach because that's not what I'm gonna be talking about over here. I'm like, I don't appreciate like those things happening in our space. Or like a lot of people just, they don't really make money doing anything except selling people on making money. It's just gotten into like really weird stuff happening in the industry. So I love to see someone who's like, no, I really care. I'm authentic. Like, I care about my clients, and I'm that way too. Like, I appreciate going like deep over wide, you know? Like, I'd
Yeah.
rather work really closely with one person than work with like 100 people and be like, here's this video, figure it out. Like, I prefer like the in-depth work with people.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I totally agree, because there's power in working with someone long term because you, like you said, you can go into the depths, whereas people who, like, for example, you work together for a time and then they go away in time, it's not always as deep in the relationship or the dynamic. Um, but
And then
you're right.
you just, yeah. Like I have clients, they do this, like, I don't know, maybe it'd be like dipping your toe in the water. Like they'll come into my ecosystem for like a month or so, and then they'll start making like massive progress. Like, I mean, like they're hiring employees, like their prices are getting raised, like their social media is doing great, and then they get, I think, like overwhelmed, and then they back off, and then they go right back to where they were, and then they like dip their toe back in, and then we're like massive success, like, oh, and then it's just like we just play this game kind of, and I'm like, if you would just stay here, like we could actually get some stuff done, but you keep like tiptoeing in and out, and that's just not working for anybody, my love. Sorry. I don't know if you have like experiences like that with clients
Yeah,
sometimes.
I'm glad. I'm glad you actually shared that because I feel like I have something similar happening, but I feel also what I've been noticing because my mind is coming to like solutions is like
Mm-hmm.
I've been creating more of a client journey to actually keep them longer,
Mm-hmm.
meaning, um, creating just like these different memberships, these different like coaching packages and things that actually keeps them to
Like,
think about more long term. Because I know my first package was 6 months. Like you couldn't work with me less than 6 months.
mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah, no,
6 to 12
that's
month
awesome.
term is what I typically aim for because I do value long term uh, support when it comes to because I don't like the instant fixes and instant gratification. Like I try to train my people to think about the long game because
Mm-hmm.
this is the type of business where you gotta really look at it from like a perspective of I can see me doing this when I'm like 80. You get what I'm saying? I can see me doing this when I'm 100. Like seeing yourself in it for the long game instead of like, oh, I want to get some quick money or quick wins and be on the
Yeah, no,
hype of it.
that you're not gonna. It reminds me of like my pastor. He had a sermon, and I'm a very visual person, so he actually had like a whiteboard and like drew on the whiteboard. And he pretty much said that we see a problem with problems. Like we feel like, what's wrong? Like there's always problems, or I did this, and then now I have this. And he just drew this circle, right? Like this infinite circle, essentially, of like there's a problem, and then there's a solution, and then that solution leads to more problems, and then you solve those problems, and then that leads to these problems, and it's just this never. He said the only time there's a problem is if it's the same problem. Does that make sense? Like you're in debt, you pay the debt off, you're back in debt. You're in debt, but the that's a problem because it's like the same circle going over and over. And I think that's what I love about continuously coaching, because it's like, yes, we did solve the problem of you needing more money, right? But now that we solved that problem, do you know how to manage a team? Like, do you know how to handle employees? Do you have KPIs? Like, do you have standards and procedures? No. Now we have to solve those problems, right? But they just think, oh no, this is too much. And it's like, no, you're just growing, and there's always going to be like these challenges when you're progressing. So you can't just get a little bit of progression and be like, okay, we're done. Like you're still gonna need. I still have coaches. I'm like, you still have a coach. I'm like, do your coaches have coaches? Because I don't feel like I'm ever gonna be to this point where I'm just like, oh yeah, I figured all of it out. I don't need help
Right,
anymore. Like unless I've just given up. I don't know. Like you
right.
don't really get to that point. Like,
And you're right.
yeah.
You're so right because I mean, coaches need coaches. I mean, we
Mm-hmm.
definitely need to continuously learn, continuously add on to what we are already creating and building, and that's the point of this business or being an entrepreneur in
Yeah.
general. But
Yeah.
just
Any business.
getting people to know like investing in a coach is really important to building your own business.
Mm-hmm. And it's that was the change in my business. When I was 23, I hired a brand coach. And that was when Yeah, because I want to say I started hitting six figures in my early 20s. So that would correlate to the time frame of like hitting six figures when I started working with a coach. Yeah,
Mhm.
for sure.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm
And then
sure.
needing, what are you saying?
Okay.
And then definitely needing coaching for becoming an educator, because that was like a lot harder of a transition for me than I expected, because I think I've just reached so much success in like the service space. I just automatically assumed that that success was just going to transfer over to being an educator. I didn't consider like starting a whole new business. And I think that throws a lot of people off. They're like, I'm not selling. It's like, yeah, because this success doesn't just automatically translate to that success. And you don't know your ideal client. You don't know who you're speaking to. You don't have branding or anything set up for that. You're just thinking of educating as like an extension of your service, and it's not. It's a completely different thing. And I think that throws a lot of people off when they try to become educators.
Right. And you're right, because I mean, like you said, when you're learning something new, you're starting off as a baby again.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
that's the part where, most people are not willing to humble themselves
I
because
had to
they
humble
feel like
myself.
I've already got
Yep.
success in this area, but it's like we have so many other areas and pockets that we got to hit on, that we got to still learn and grow and be willing to be a baby again. Like, so
Yeah,
that's
that was
why
hard for
it's
me.
so important to always be a student and a teacher.
And then I went the like software route. So I started learning Kajabi, and I started learning ClickFunnels, and I started learning like software systems. And I'm pretty tech savvy, but that was challenging for me because I really had to sit and like ask for help, watch YouTube videos, like study. And it was really frustrating. And it took me a very long time to like understand the systems. And then you see people start coaching and they just do it for like a couple of months and then they go right back to the services because they're just like, oh wait, this is more than I thought it would be. And it's like, yeah, you have to, it's different. You have, or like hire a coach who's done it, who can like collapse time a little bit for you. But if you're not really willing to do that, then you're definitely in for a fairly decent amount of work if you're not going to do
Right.
that.
Yes. I mean, we're
And like
talking years. I've,
years.
I've, I've studied to see most coaches who get their big break as far as their income growth and consistently building it is around 3 to 4 years.
I'm going to say that 3 to 4 years. Yeah. That's literally that's the time frame that I thought in my head. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's why I always tell people realistically, like, I mean, sure, you may come in and blow things out of the water, you know what I'm saying? But the foundation is still very important,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of what it is that you're creating. And especially with a coaching business, you're still going to have to do foundational work regardless.
And I kind of had that epiphany because like I have I'm building like an academy now, but it's very much like the AB like A to Z, right? Like who's your ideal client, what is your pricing, what's your online presence, like understanding cash flow and setting up your business like EIN, LLC, all this stuff, right? And I remember one day I was looking at it, it's like 80 something modules, and it hit me that like you have to do all of those things again to become an educator. Like all 80 of those things, you have to redo that for this completely different business. And I was like, whoa. Like it was just kind of hit me like, wow, this is why a lot of people don't get that far because this is a lot of work. Yeah.
But
I'm
it's
like,
worth it because you get to keep things in order, separate, and make it all make sense.
and I fight with people on that. They're like, why do I have to separate it? I'm like, because they're different businesses. And what if something happens in your salon and now your coaching business is affected? Or something like you have to separate things, like you said, keeping order. And I'm very big on that. We have to separate things. So that's important. So what's like What are some of the things you're working on, or like future plans, or like things you're excited about?
Well, currently I have about, I want to say about 35 courses in my draft right now.
Your draft, not the draft, girl. What?
In my
You're
draft,
like
girl, that I'm
you're
actively
like
like
me.
going in and out and putting in information
Oh my
because the
god.
ideas just keep flowing. So I'm
I
in
know.
a space where like I have about I think 10, 10 plus that's currently available and posted now, but the other 35 I'm still like, plugging and kind of like creating, but I'm dropping them like.
That's awesome. What do you use? Do you use Scan or Kajabi or Teachable, Kartra?
So I did used to use Kajabi. I started out with Kajabi, and then I switched to, it was some other program. It was so many different programs. I'm gonna be honest, but now I'm at Podia.
Oh,
Podia,
okay, yeah, I've heard of them. Yeah.
yeah. And so it works. It's simple. It's it's very easy to follow, and it has everything I need.
Yeah, that's helpful. I
um,
used Kajabi for a while.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen some new people that I know here that switched to Kajabi recently from Thinkific, but I know every all of it is perfect. It's for a process for each of us to learn different things about the different systems. Um,
Hmm.
but I know for me, like, I'm just excited to kind of build up this membership.
Oh, that's exciting.
I just released my Evolution of You membership, which is going to be a pretty much year-long membership of courses that I'll be releasing, or that people will get access to throughout
Like
the
dripping
full year
it.
that they sign up. Um,
Okay.
that's going to give them kind of like a consistent thing that they can work on each month to keep them kind of like on track and focused. So just mapping out that thing, that plan for people who come in, so I can kind of just make sure that people get the idea that this is for longevity and that they're going to have continuous support, and just get people to kind of stay in my world long term. So my thing is that I'm always creating new, creating more and more and more. So at one point, I just focused on just my main program, which was, my main signature offer, which was a 6 month.
Six
But
months,
now I'm
yeah.
at a point where like I'm creating a world around
Like
it to where,
diversifying. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So I'm pretty
And like
excited.
different things for like you said, where people are on their journey. Like maybe you're here, maybe you're here. Like just having different like resources available. That's really good. That's what
Yeah.
my coach talks to me about a lot. Because
So
I'm
what?
telling you, like I, in my mind, I'm just like high ticket all day. I'm like, just give me money and I'll work with you. Like, but I'm trying to get out of it, which is why I'm like launching the academy. I'm like, okay, because again, like the one-on-one, the high ticket, that's still a version of like doing a service and trading some of my time for money. So I do know that like I have to get more into the digital world. As much as I like my high ticket world, I can live in both worlds, right? Like, so
Yeah.
that's something I'm working on. And then I just like love the software side of things, and I love like sales. And so what I did is like, you'll understand this because I learned digital marketing, right? Like that's what we learned because
Hmm.
we learned like courses and funnels and lead magnets and automations and sequences. Like that's what you learn in the digital world. So I took all of those things and then I translated them back to the beauty world, which is great because I'm like teaching my clients, okay, this is how to make a lead magnet. You have to do text marketing, email marketing. You need to have funnels. You need to create offer stacks. Like, so I was able to translate a lot of it. But then what I really realized is like, we just don't have the systems in the beauty world to really like facilitate that type of communication. Like we
Girl,
really
you
just
are
have
hitting
scheduling
it on
systems.
the
Yes.
head.
So now that's when I started developing my CRM platform. So that's what I've been working on for like around 6 months now, and I've been working with the developer for the last like 2 months. So we're supposed to be launching this month, which I'm very excited about because that's what I love. Like I love the automation of things because I feel like there's so many things on our plate because I'm really big on customer service. So I'm like, are you texting them before their appointment? Are you texting them after their appointment? Are you asking for reviews? Are you responding to reviews? Like, are you texting them a month after? I'm huge on that stuff. But I also understand that's so much to put on our plates, you know,
Yeah.
because we already have to do so much. So really understanding and like learning the CRM systems is just something you just get to like automate. And that's it. Like you just set it up one time, it's automated, you're hands off. So that's what I've been working on. And then having like a Kajabi, but for beauty professionals. So everything is done for you already. Because that's where people get stuck, you know, like building everything. So everything will just be done already. So that's what I'm moving towards. And that's really what makes me excited. All that
Oh,
techie
that's gonna
stuff.
be amazing.
I'm so
Okay,
excited about it.
because when I started back doing hair, I was very selective on what I wanted to do,
Yeah.
and so that's
Yeah.
why I specialize in micro locks because that's something that I was excited about, I'm passionate about, and I just left everything else like
Yep.
no, I'm good. And
This is all
so
I want.
now that
Yeah.
I'm doing hair again and also coaching, I can see how I'm like my coaching brain is like, I need actual processes for
Or,
collecting these leads
yes.
for me to actually make sure I'm able to like do the same thing that the functionalities
Mm-hmm.
I'm able to do with my coaching business. And I've
Mm-hmm.
tried Bookski or whatever. It came a little close, but it
None of
didn't
the
quite do it.
scheduling.
And I was
Yeah.
just like, this is not it. And so I'm glad that you brought this up because I think that's what we really, really need overall. That's going to be a game changer. Okay?
So, so for you, for example, like, so on your website, right, you would create a lead magnet about locks, like what you specialize in, why you're the specialist, why you're the expert, client testimonials. Like you would create like a lead magnet very similar to what you would create for your courses, right? Like an opt-in essentially. So now you're creating leads. And then once they fill that out, now they're getting the text messages, they're getting the emails, like asking them to book, like asking them if they have any questions. And then when they come in, then they're put into another automation to where it's like giving them their prep directions. It's giving them their consent forms automatically. It's checking on them the day after, 3 days after, a month after, asking them for reviews, like asking them for testimonials. Like it's just fully automating like the back end so that you can go on to training and educating because you've like freed up almost all of your time with the salon is the idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's super exciting. I'm like, I can't wait to release it.
Girl, you need to let us know when that is out.
Like, where is it? You're like, I'm ready. Where is it?
Right.
Tune in.
Because what? You about to change the game with that one. I'm telling you now.
That's my
That
plan,
is something
girl. That's my plan.
I know it. I know it. And I'm happy to hear that it's something out there because I mean, like,
We
I've
need
even
it.
thought about using like my own coaching system to do it, but it still was like, it could work, but it still is not built for it.
It's not built for beauty. Yeah, I get that.
Mhm. Yeah.
And then I've looked at like similar things to what I've built and like there's systems to where and these are really actually really helpful. So I'm really big on Google reviews. Like I think you should have as many reviews as humanly possible. So there's systems to where they'll send messages to your clients after their appointments to keep reminding them of leaving reviews, which I think are
Yeah.
amazing. And I know people that use those systems and they have hundreds of reviews. But the problem is, A, you have to input the clients into that system, like manually, like once a week or once every couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes it doesn't communicate with Google to know if the person left a review or not. So that's just like really weird to me. And those systems can be like $100 just for the review functionality, like nothing else that it offers. And then there's another system that I saw for salons where all they do is make you a lead magnet and a funnel. And that was like $150 a month. And I realized this too, like a lot of corporations understand the lack of business knowledge that beauty professionals have, and they use that to their advantage to charge us way more than they should, because they know that we don't know. I see that a lot when I like study systems. I'm like, wow. Like when Vagaro released Capital, do you know their capital is 30%?
What?
Yeah. Yep. And they know that a lot of people in the beauty industry are just going to be like, oh, money, capital, sure, here you go. They don't understand, like percentage. They're not thinking about the interest rate. They're just like, oh, you want to give me money, capital? That sounds awesome. And then even like texting, like a lot of systems like Square, Vagaro, Gloss Genius, whatever, per text message is like 0.3 cents or 3 cents, like to send out texting, which is 80 to 90% effective. And email marketing is only 20 to 30% effective. But in my system, a text message is like 0.001, 0.007. And it's like,
wow.
they just can get away. Or even like if you talk, like I used to go to the beauty conferences a lot, and all I would do is sit in the business classes. And the accountants would come and they'd be like, it's $4,000 to work with me. And I'm like, that's not how much it costs to work with an accountant. They just know that we are cash rich and we need help. And then they overcharge us for stuff. So I've been like really seeing that a lot when I've been building this.
Yeah. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And that's good that
It's great.
you're actually in that I would say niche or area of the industry, because who else is going to advocate for us besides someone who's a beauty expert? You know what I mean? Like, we
Exactly.
know our journey and what we need more than anybody else. So this is why I fell in love with. I was like, oh my God, we got more beauty expert. Like when I see more like us, like people who are like
It's really
trying to
exciting.
educate from a perspective of I'm doing this and I'm also coaching people in the, I'm like, we need this. We need this
Yeah.
because, like you said, I've seen other people, and I'm gonna be honest, mostly guys.
And a
Most,
lot of them, they've never even been in the industry. I'm like, the fuck? Excuse me? What are we even talking about right now? You don't even know anything about the beauty industry. You know about business. You understand coaching. I'm not saying they don't have like successful like systems or strategies, but like you don't even understand the beauty industry. Like, what are we talking about right now? I could talk about that for a while. I get it.
okay, so you're
I get
seeing the
it.
same thing I'm seeing.
Or not to get on the beauty industry people, but then the flip side of that is the beauty industry people, like let's say someone, they're really good at extensions, right? And they've built this like 7-figure salon because they're really good at extensions. And then they become a business coach. But they don't really know anything about business. They're just trying to teach you their method of like building an extension business to 7 figures. But then they're talking to like a facial specialist. Like they don't really understand business. They just became extremely successful off of a skill.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So I feel like there's two sides. There's either like the beauty people who experience success, which makes them want to be a coach or a consultant, but they really experience success like linked to a skill, not necessarily understanding business. And then you have the business people who understand business and they've experienced business, but they don't understand the beauty industry. Like there's a lot of just these two like polar opposites. So it's really just so amazing to see when someone's like both of those things. Like you really understand beauty and you really understand business, and I don't think that happens a lot.
Right. Right. Because that's what makes you more well-rounded, and
Mm-hmm.
what you can actually articulate and offer and help people with, because like you said, like I understand the business side
Yes.
and the beauty side, like, and I
Yes.
also understand the in between, the personal
Yes.
development. I also understand the mindset, like, you see what I'm
Yes.
saying, like.
It's a lot.
Right. And I'm actually
Not-
out here tweaking, playing around with systems, but I definitely didn't think about creating one. That's for sure. Like
I just gotta do the most.
yeah, that was for you. That's your God given assignment. But
It's so funny. Like when I'm on my coaching calls, I love my community, but like I'll be like, okay, so you fill out the form, and then you add this trigger, and then this trigger is gonna launch this automation, and they're gonna get this email, and they just look at me like, what are you talking about right now? And I'm like, what? This is so exciting. And they're like, what is going on? So yeah, I've definitely found like my thing for sure. Because they're like, what
yeah,
are you talking about right now? They believe me. They're like, yeah, that's amazing. But like, what is wrong with you? Like, why are you so excited about this right now? I'm like, this is so exciting. It's so funny.
right. So how do you feel like you've nailed down the? I'm pretty sure as far as like getting leads, because you talk about lead magnets and things, but like, do you feel like you've nailed down the getting clients consistently in your coaching business, or is that something you're still working working through?
Well, okay, so I I did like organic, so like the DMing, live, posting a lot. And that's when I was selling the coaching business and I was coaching. And that was going really well. Like my coach, I feel like she gets mad at me because like something will be going really well and I'm like, I don't like this. And then I'm like, I want to do this. So coaching was going really well and I had like my group coaching program. But the more I started coaching people, that's when I really was like, I really need to make this system because this is what's going to help them the most. Like I'm telling them to do this stuff or have their staff do this stuff. And this is a lot of like, these are a lot of things I'm telling people to do when I know that this stuff can just be automated and
Yeah.
they actually don't have to do this. So then when I made the like, which I'm still in, like now that I'm making the pivot to selling the CRM, I don't market the coaching anymore because I'm not taking coaching clients. I just want to sell the CRM. And when the CRM is done, I'll launch like ads and like workshops and things like that. So it will be a different marketing strategy, but I'll be able to grow a lot differently because it's just a software system. It's not as much of my like time that's going to be needed.
Okay.
But yeah, I do feel like I have that down pretty well. But now it's like I got that down, and now it's like a whole different marketing system to do now.
Yeah.
But it's okay.
I
Yeah.
see what you're saying. So it's
Yeah.
like you pivoted and switched direction. So now it's like that kind of just dwindled, fizzling out, I guess, because you're shifting.
Yes.
You're going into a new direction.
I'm shifting because I'm really like I will say it's a blessing and a curse, but I have seen like the life that I want for so long. And I've been working towards it for so long to know almost immediately this isn't it.
Yeah.
And that can be really hard because you can work really, really, really hard towards something and then you get it and you almost want to force yourself to stay there because you're like, girl, you just spent a year with this. What do you mean you don't like it? Like, what are you talking about? But I'm so attached and committed to what I want my life to look like that I know pretty quickly, like, this is not it. This isn't it. And I'm willing to pivot, which is not always easy. It's not always easy to do. But I just know, like, what I'm looking for, and I know when it isn't it. I'm like, this isn't it. This isn't it.
Yeah. And I think you should continue to trust that, because I've pivoted enough to know that, like, where I'm at now in my business. And I was just having this thought today, honestly, where I was like, okay, I can see me doing this for many, many years. And I started thinking 10, 20, 30, 40 plus years
Yeah,
of
yeah,
like carrying out this type of structure that I created, because it just feels right and true to me. Like, I
yeah.
know that what I'm doing now, as far as creating my courses, because it still encompasses my creativity and my knowledge and the way I'm actually able to package it together and still have it accessible, it's like I know I can continue to grow this in this way. And so that's kind of where I see myself continuously doing and building and adding and then just reselling or just kind of reintroducing it year after year to where more people get access to it because I've already created it. You know what I mean? So it's just the longevity that I'm looking at it from. So I understand what you're saying as far as your life and your way of doing it and your software. And you're like, I got to do it how I feel.
I'm trying to be on an island somewhere on a Tuesday at 3:00 with no internet service. I'm like, I really
For real though, because even with my like courses and things, like it's set up in a way where I don't actually have to do like trade my time for money. You get what I'm saying? Like it's already done. You just pick what you want, sign up, and you're gonna go through the whole journey. Like
I greatly underestimated like the energy work of coaching, and I feel like I figured it out real quick that I was like, I don't know if I want to do this. So now with the software system and like the systems, I do plan on creating an academy to where like I'll go into a salon or the franchises, I'll build out the whole complete back end, the whole CRM. Like I like that level of working. But when I was really getting into like the divorces, the kids, the boundaries, the employees, the operations, like the most, not that I'm good at it. I do appreciate that I'm very good at it, but I was just like, yeah, I don't think I want to do this for the long term. This is a lot of work. I really just want to be like chilling somewhere, like just seeing sales notifications on my phone. Yeah, I think that's like what I would like to do now. Maybe in the long term, when I have more like mental capacity, I could see myself like going back into coaching a little bit. But for now, I was just like, yeah, no, that's not what I want to be doing right now. So shout out to you and your coaching because I very much know how much work it is. I fully understand that.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely get it. Yeah, for sure. Like coaching is, it is what it is. I value the touch with people, but I also do have the system or the process, my business model, I'll say, set up to where I don't have to actually do sessions. I don't have to actually coach people. I can just sell my courses.
That's good. Yes, I like that for you.
So the flexibility is there. Like whenever I want to say, nope, I'm done. I'm shutting down the book.
I'm done. Yeah, I'm leaning more towards that type of business structure. So I get that. Well, it was great talking to you. I'm like, I want to do this again. Like, so fun. And we have so much in common. Like, I love that. Where are you? Where do you live? I don't even know. Like, where are you located?
In Georgia,
Oh,
Atlanta area.
okay.
Where are you at?
I'm in Orlando. So we're not too far.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah. I was like, I don't even know where you are.
Right, I know. Yeah, Georgia girl. It's beautiful here. We got some beautiful weather.
Yeah, it's just hot here. Just very hot. That's
Yeah, we
what
definitely have to
happens.
do this more often and probably like plan some more little business things because I could just see a whole little different ideas that be happening by us collaborate.
I know. I love it. I'm leaning more into that. Like I want to collaborate and like go live and start like teaching at some of the shows and just like, getting more into the educator life. So I'm excited to like make connections. And thanks for always supporting my stuff and my posts. I'm like, oh, thanks, girl. I really appreciate it.
Yay. So thank you for your time and thank you for joining me and talking with me today. So we will stay in touch. And thank you guys for tuning in. And I'm going to actually save this and send it to you somehow.
Perfect.
And tell us how we can actually reach you for your people that want to work with you or however.
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram here, so you can come to my page, send me a DM. I'm on Facebook a lot. I'm pretty cohesive with my branding. So my Facebook is my name, my Instagram is my name. So it's pretty easy to find me. My website is my name. So it's just Jenna Melberg. And then I will have the CRM launch soon. So I'm really excited about that. And it's going to be really, really good for the beauty industry. It's very, very much needed. So I'm excited.
We're looking forward to that software and your progress and updates. So, guys, I'm excited. Next time we meet up, you'll be able to see where we are now from then and be like,
Yeah.
oh my God, girl,
I'll be doing
an update.
this call in like Italy or something. Like, oh, hold on. Let me go find reception.
Right?
I like that plan.
I love it. I love it. All right. So, guys, you guys can follow me, find me. Everything is Drew Shine as well. YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Thank you guys again, and I will see you soon.
Have a good night. Bye.
Good night.